I know. Just assuming that we sound like Hold_Worth with just simply one lick, it is blasphemy. Let's be honest, it's blasphemy. Hold_Worth is on the next level. He is God tier guitar player. But at least we can use one specific lick to sound like a tiny bit like Hold_Worth. Just like a little bit. And a little bit for us human beings is already, pure enjoyment. Guitar champion, welcome to today's video where I'm going to show you a really cool Hold_Worth lick which you can use in every progressive, extreme, technical, death, reggae, metal, funk fusion situation. It is a really cool lick. Here we go. Hey Guitar Champion, what's going on? I'm 𝗚𝗚𝙗𝗚𝗚, back from my practice dojo. Welcome to today's video. This lick is using the half-tone whole tone scale over an E Phrygian dominant environment. Why this works, I will tell you in the end of the video. But if you just want to learn the lick, I highly recommend to check out the description box because there you can find the tabs for this lick for free. So get it there, download it there, learn that lick. As we Germans always say, weniger schnacken, Kopf und Nacken. Let's go. First, let's check out the lick slow. Well, besides the scale that we're playing in with that lick to create this kind of outside feel, that outside tension, we also have a different, interesting individual attribute in this kind of lick, which are the little slides. That is something that Alan loves to do in amount of licks, amount of kind of things. For example, I once saw him playing something in the A minor scale and it sounded like this. So these little slides, these little slurs, he really likes to do with his pinky, going from one fret to the next fret and back to the original fret. And now in our case, as we are starting off with this finger shape, because that's a good thing about the half-tone whole tone scale, it is a symmetrical scale, which means we actually only have 2 3-note per string fingerings and we can shift that around super easily. So we're starting off with a G string, in this case now 12, 13, 15, and then we're going to 12, 13, 15 on the E string, having a string skip in between. This shape alone is already super interesting and super modern. It creates a whole new level and whole new layer of sound and of color by just using these kind of finger shapes. Now we're adding to that shape when we have reached the high E string, a slide with our pinky up a half-tone step and then descending again a half-tone step. And then just basically pulling everything off back to the G string. We can take this shape and we can easily shift it horizontally across the fretboard by just putting it down and up a minor third. So we're starting first on the 12th fret, and then we're playing the same thing on the 9th fret, then on the 6th fret, and in the end on the 3rd fret. The only tricky thing is the position shift, because it's a minor third, and position shifts always causes some effects in our timing. Which means I basically slide as fast as possible from the index finger to the starting point of the next position. And we have to be careful with the timing on the pinky, that we don't stay too long with the pinky after the slide on the fret. That's something that sometimes happens when I play this lick. Over-exaggerated. But here, perfect demonstration. Better. Okay, first, a couple of things as well that we have to be aware of when we're playing this. One is we have to remain a lot on hammer-ons from nowhere, especially when we're doing the string changes, because Alan is not somebody who's picking a lot, so he's often changing the strings just with the force of his left hand. What helps with that sometimes is the bridge pickup. And you can see Alan using the bridge pickup a lot, even there There's even that one famous headless guitar which only has a bridge pickup. But this can cause, especially with a high distorted sound, some nasty noises and some nasty notes ringing along. So we have to be really careful with our muting. That's, for example, why I'll rely a little bit on this little helper here, even though it is not helping too much. We can still have sounds and noises around our notes. So we still have to be really careful about muting everything properly. And what I like to do here, for example, to play the high E string is I like to pluck it with my middle finger. That's a little bit more P.R. Nielsen, Tom Quayle kind of style compared to Allen Holdsworth. When I go back, when I descend back to the G string, I do it with a hammer on from nowhere. Whenever I do the pluck on the E string, I shut down with my palm the lower strings, every string that is above the E string, so I can mute those strings. When I go descend, I more have to rely on the index finger, muting the strings above the G string now in this case. So that when I pull off, this is not really happening. But I would try to avoid pull-offs or extreme pull-offs like these. Anyways, here in this situation, that is one reason why Allen sounds so fluid, because he is using pull-offs, but his pull-offs are really decent. So let's talk a little bit about the use of the halftone whole tone scale in this Phrygian dominant environment. Halftone whole tone scale is an octatonic scale, so that means we have 8 notes. E halftone whole tone, for example, are the notes E, F, then G or double sharp F, then G sharp, then we have A flat, B, C sharp, D, and E. Phrygian dominant has the notes E, F, G sharp, A, B, C, D, E. So that means we share the root note, we share the minor third. We don't share the minor third. This is one that we are adding in the halftone whole tone scale. Both scales have a major third. The halftone whole tone scale leaves away the fourth and adds the augmented fourth. We both share the fifths. Then it takes away the minor 6 and added the major 6. We have the minor 7 and the octave. Which means we keep in this concept the most important notes of the Phrygian dominant scale, which are the root note, major third, fifths, and minor second. And to spice it up a little bit, we're adding the minor third, or like augmented ninth, if you want to call it like this, the augmented fourth, and the major sixth. Sound that I really like, but it works perfectly over Phrygian dominant. Especially with these kind of licks, because in those licks we are just playing really fast a certain pattern which more sounds cascading and you can identify individual notes. You just hear the swirl of notes, this wall of sound, and the color of that wall of sound. Alright, Guitar Champions, so much for today's lick. I hope you liked this lick. I hope I'm going to see you in my next video. If you would be so kind to subscribe to this channel, leave a nice like, leave a nice comment, let me know which guitar player I should also check out and should share some licks with you guys. I wish you a lot of fun learning, practicing and mastering the guitar. Cheers and power your progress.